My name is Evelyn Harrison. I'm 28 years old. 3 weeks ago, I was bleeding out in the back of an ambulance, shattered glass in my chest, my left leg crushed, internal bleeding. I called my mother. She picked up on the fourth ring. I heard music, laughter, the clink of champagne glasses. Mom, I whispered, I was in an accident. I need surgery. They need blood donors. A B negative. 5 seconds of silence.
Then she said, "Evelyn, can this wait? It's Victoria's birthday. We're about to cut the cake."
I heard my sister giggle in the background.
My father grabbed the phone. "You're a doctor. Figure it out yourself. Don't ruin your sister's special day with your drama."
The line went dead. But here's what they didn't know. Someone else was watching. Someone who had been waiting for 25 years. When the surgeon walked into my room and saw the name on my emergency contact form, his hands started shaking. He looked at me, then back at the paper and whispered, "It can't be. He told us you were dead." Before I tell you what happened next, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy this story. Also, I'd love to know where you're watching from and what time it is there. Drop a comment below. Now let me take you back to where it all started. I grew up in a 2-story house in Seattle's Beacon Hill neighborhood. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a front yard with rose bushes my mother planted the year Victoria was born. From the outside, we looked like the perfect American family. From the inside, I learned to become invisible. My father, Robert Harrison, managed a construction supply store on the east side of town. He made $65,000 a year. Not rich, not poor. Comfortable enough to complain about money when it suited him. My mother, Sandra, worked part-time as a bookkeeper. She spent most of her energy on Victoria, planning Victoria's outfits, scheduling Victoria's activities, posting about Victoria's achievements. And then there was me, the other one. Victoria was 2 years younger than me, blonde hair, blue eyes, a smile that made everyone stop and stare. She walked into rooms like she owned them. Because in our house she did. I had brown hair, brown eyes, a quiet voice that people talked over. I learned early that silence was safer. The first time I noticed something was wrong, I was 8 years old. I stood in the hallway counting the photographs on the wall. 47 frames. Victoria appeared in 43 of them. Baby Victoria, toddler Victoria, Victoria at ballet, Victoria at the beach, Victoria blowing out candles, Victoria in a princess dress. Victoria, Victoria, Victoria. I found myself in 4. In 2 of them, I was partially cropped out, just a shoulder, half a face. Like I was accidentally in the background of someone else's story. Mom, I asked that night, why aren't I in more pictures? She didn't look up from brushing Victoria's hair.
"You never smile nicely in photos, Evelyn. You always look so serious."
I practiced smiling in the mirror for weeks. No new pictures appeared. Our bedrooms told the same story. Victoria had the master bedroom on the 2nd floor. It had its own bathroom with a rainfall shower head, a queen-sized bed with a canopy, a 55-inch TV mounted on the wall, a mini fridge stocked with her favorite snacks.
"Victoria needs space for her creativity," my mother explained. "She's sensitive. She needs her own sanctuary."
Victoria's creativity consisted of posting selfies to Instagram. At 26, she had 234 followers. Most of them were bots. My room was next to the garage. It used to be a storage room. My father put up some drywall, added a single bed, and called it finished. No windows, just a ceiling fan that rattled when it spun. The walls were thin enough to hear the garage door every time someone came or went. I asked once if I could switch rooms with Victoria, just once. My mother's face twisted like I'd asked for something obscene.
"Victoria was here first," she said, "and she needs more than you do. You're adaptable."
Adaptable, that was the word they used for me. Victoria was sensitive, special, delicate. I was adaptable. Dinner time was a ritual of exclusion. We ate at a rectangular table. Victoria sat to my mother's right. My father sat at the head. They faced each other like a cozy triangle. I sat at the corner, the seat closest to the kitchen. It made it easier to get up and fetch things, refill drinks, grab the salt, clear the plates. I was 11 when I realized I was the only one who ever left the table during meals. Conversations revolved around Victoria like planets orbiting a sun.
"Victoria, how was school today? Victoria, tell us about your art class. Victoria, you look so beautiful in that sweater."
When I spoke, eyes glazed over within 30 seconds. My mother would nod, say that's nice, and turn back to Victoria. I stopped trying by age 12. Allowance made the hierarchy clear. Victoria received $300 a week. For expenses, my mother said. Victoria's expenses included Starbucks every morning, manicures every week, and clothes she wore once before discarding. I received $25 a week. but only if I completed my chores. My chores: cleaning the bathrooms, vacuuming the entire house, doing laundry for all four of us, washing dishes after every meal, and taking care of the backyard. Victoria's chores: occasionally emptying the dishwasher, when she remembered, which was never.
Victoria has a lot on her plate, my mother said. Social things. You wouldn't understand.
I understood perfectly. I understood that Victoria's time was valuable and mine was not. The car said everything. For Victoria's 18th birthday, my parents bought her a BMW 3 Series. Pearl white, leather interior. It cost $42,000. Victoria crashed it within 6 months, texting while driving. She walked away without a scratch. My parents bought her another one, silver this time.
The white was bad luck, my mother said.
For my 18th birthday, I received a bus pass.
You're going to college soon, my father said. No point buying you a car when you'll be leaving.
I didn't mention that Victoria was going to community college 3 miles away. I didn't mention that she could have walked. There was no point. I found a used bicycle at a garage sale for $15. I rode it to my 2 part-time jobs, rain or shine, summer or winter, while Victoria's BMW sat in the driveway gleaming. The thing about invisibility is that you get used to it. You learn to expect nothing, to need less, to take up less space. You learn that asking for things leads to disappointment, that hoping for change leads to heartbreak, that the only person you can rely on is yourself. By the time I was 15, I had accepted my place in the family. The afterthought, the background character, the adaptable one. I told myself it didn't matter. I almost believed it. But there was one person who saw me differently. One person who made me feel like I existed outside the shadows of that house. Her name was Dorothy, Great Aunt Dorothy, my grandfather's younger sister. She lived alone in a small cottage near the coast. She sent birthday cards when no one else remembered. Called on holidays when the house was too loud for anyone to notice I was missing. She was the first person to tell me I was special, and she was about to tell me something that would haunt me for years. The summer I turned 14, I won first place at the Washington State Science Fair. My project was about water purification systems for rural communities. I had spent 8 months researching building prototypes and testing filtration methods. My teacher, Mrs. Patterson, called it graduate-level work. The prize was a $5,000 scholarship and a trophy taller than my arm. I carried that trophy home on the bus. I held it on my lap the entire ride, afraid to let it go. This was it. This was the moment my parents would finally see me, finally acknowledge that I existed. I walked through the front door, trophy raised high. Mom, Dad, I won first place in the whole state. My mother was on the couch painting Victoria's toenails. She glanced up. Her eyes moved to the trophy, then back to Victoria's feet.
That's nice, Evelyn.
She dipped the brush back into the polish.
Can you help Victoria with her math homework after dinner? She has a test tomorrow.
No hug, no photograph, no celebration. Just, that's nice, and a request to help my sister. I stood there for 17 seconds. I counted them, waiting for something more. Nothing came. I carried the trophy to my windowless room and placed it on my desk. It gathered dust for years. That same week, Victoria received a C+ on her English essay. My mother posted on Facebook, so proud of my baby girl for working so hard. Victoria studied all week for this essay, and it shows hard work pays off. The post got 47 likes. That Saturday, we went to Olive Garden to celebrate Victoria's improvement. I sat in my usual spot at the end of the table. No one mentioned my trophy. No one mentioned the scholarship. No one mentioned that I had beaten 312 other students from across the state. I ate my breadsticks in silence. When I was 17, I discovered the truth about college. I was filling out scholarship applications at the kitchen table. My parents were in the living room watching television with Victoria. A bank statement sat on the counter. I wasn't trying to snoop, but the numbers were large enough to catch my eye. Victoria Harrison College Fund. Balance $85,000. I stared at that number for a long time. Then I walked into the living room. Dad, I said, I need to talk to you about college. He didn't look away from the screen.
What about it?
Do I have a college fund, like Victoria? The silence lasted 4 seconds. I know because I counted. My mother shifted on the couch. Victoria smirked into her phone.
College fund. My father laughed. It wasn't a warm sound. For you, Evelyn, student loans, build character, you're smart, you'll figure out scholarships.
But Victoria has 85,000.
Victoria has different needs. My mother's voice was sharp. She struggles with academics. She needs that safety net. You don't.
I looked at Victoria. She was taking a selfie, completely unbothered. So I get nothing. My father finally turned to face me. His eyes were cold.
You get a roof over your head, you get food on the table, you get more than most kids get. Stop being ungrateful.
I worked 2 jobs my entire senior year. Mornings at a coffee shop, 4:30 to 7 before school. Evenings at a grocery store, 5 to 10 after homework. Weekends at both. I saved $11,000. It wasn't enough, but the scholarships I earned made up the difference. Merit-based, need-based, every application I could find. I applied to 47 of them. I got 32. I got into the University of Washington. Pre-med, 75% scholarship. When the acceptance letter arrived, I showed my mother. She was helping Victoria choose outfits for a party.
Washington. She frowned. That's far away. What about helping around the house?
It's 45 minutes away, Mom.
Still. What about your sister? She needs you here.
She's 16. She doesn't need me.
My mother's jaw tightened. Don't be selfish, Evelyn. Family comes first.
Family comes first. I heard that phrase my entire life, but somehow it only applied when the family needed something from me. 2 months later, Victoria got accepted to Seattle Community College. My parents threw a party. 25 guests, a 3-tier cake that said "Our College Girl" in pink frosting, a banner across the living room, balloons everywhere. I was asked to serve the drinks. I carried trays of lemonade while relatives I barely knew congratulated Victoria on her achievement. While my parents beamed with pride, while Victoria posed for photographs that would fill the frames I was never in. No one asked about my acceptance to UW. No one asked about my scholarship. No one asked about anything. At one point, my great-aunt Dorothy found me in the kitchen. She was the only relative who ever seemed to notice me. "Evelyn." She took my hand. Her fingers were thin and warm. "I heard about Washington. Pre-med. That's incredible." I felt tears building. I blinked them back. "Thanks, Aunt Dorothy." She squeezed my hand tighter. "Your grandfather would be so proud." I frowned. "Grandfather? I thought he died before I was born." Something flickered across her face. Fear. Sadness. I couldn't tell.
That's what they told you.
"Yes, Mom and Dad said."
Evelyn. My mother's voice cut through the kitchen. We need more ice now.
Aunt Dorothy released my hand, but she leaned in close. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "He's not dead, sweetheart, and neither are you. Not to him." Then she walked away. I stood there holding an empty ice bucket, trying to understand what she meant. I asked my parents about it that night. Aunt Dorothy said something strange about grandfather. My father's face went rigid.
Dorothy is old. She gets confused.
But she said he's not.
He's dead. My father's voice was iron. End of discussion. Don't bring this up again.
My mother wouldn't meet my eyes. Victoria was too busy on her phone to notice. I let it go. I had college to focus on, a future to build. I told myself it didn't matter. But Aunt Dorothy's words stayed with me. "He's not dead, and neither are you. Not to him." What did that mean? I had no idea that the answer would take 8 more years to find. And when it did, it would shatter everything I thought I knew about my family. College was supposed to be my escape. For the first time in my life, I had a room with a window, a roommate who asked about my day, professors who remembered my name. I threw myself into pre-med with everything I had. Organic chemistry at 7 in the morning, biology labs until midnight, study groups on weekends. I slept 4 hours a night and felt more alive than I ever had. My GPA after freshman year, 3.92. My parents didn't ask. Sophomore year, I applied for summer research positions. I got accepted into a program at the UW Medical Center, studying cellular regeneration. The professor leading it was one of the top researchers in the country. I called home to share the news.
Victoria answered. Mom's busy, Dad's at work. What do you want?
I got into a research program. It's really competitive.
Cool. Hey, can you send me $200? I need new shoes for Ashley's birthday party.
Victoria, I work part-time. I don't have...
Ugh, forget it. You're so stingy.
She hung up. I stared at my phone for a long time. Then I went back to studying. The summer after sophomore year, my appendix ruptured. I was alone in my apartment, 2 in the morning. The pain hit like a knife twisting in my gut. I couldn't stand, couldn't breathe. I crawled to my phone and dialed 911. The ambulance took me to Seattle Grace Hospital. Emergency surgery. The appendix had burst. Infection was spreading. Another hour and it would have killed me. I woke up in a hospital bed alone. A nurse came in to check my vitals. "Is there anyone we should call? Honey family." I gave her my parents' number. 2 hours later, my phone buzzed. A text from my mother. "Heard you're in the hospital. Victoria has a job interview tomorrow, so we can't come today. Rest up, drink fluids." That was it. No visit, no call, no "are you okay?" Just drink fluids. I spent 3 days in that hospital. I signed my own discharge papers. I took an Uber back to my apartment. I recovered alone, eating instant noodles and watching the ceiling. On day 3, someone knocked on my door. Great Aunt Dorothy stood in the hallway. She carried a pot of homemade soup, a basket of fruit, and a bouquet of sunflowers. The hospital called me, she said. Your emergency contact form was empty. They found my name on your insurance as secondary family. I burst into tears. She held me for a long time. That week, Dorothy stayed with me. She cooked, she cleaned. She made sure I took my medication. She told me stories about the Harrison family that I had never heard. Your grandmother was a firecracker, she said one evening. Catherine, she passed when you were just a baby, but oh, she would have adored you. What about grandfather? Dorothy's smile faded. She set down her tea. William is complicated. Mom and Dad say he's dead. I know what they say. Her voice was careful. But Robert has always had a difficult relationship with the truth. So he's alive. She didn't answer directly. Instead, she reached into her purse and pulled out a photograph. An old photograph, faded at the edges. A young man in a white coat standing in front of a hospital. He had dark hair, kind eyes, and a smile that looked familiar. Too familiar. Who is this? Daniel Harrison. Her voice cracked. Your father's older brother. I stared at the photo. Dad has a brother. Had. Dorothy wiped her eyes. Daniel passed away 25 years ago. Car accident. He and his wife Sarah. I never knew that. There's a lot you don't know, sweetheart. She took back the photograph. And it's not my place to tell you. Not yet. Then whose place is it? She looked at me with something like sorrow. Like she was carrying a weight too heavy to bear. When the time comes, you'll understand. Just know this, you are loved, Evelyn. More than you know, by people you've never met. I wanted to push further, to demand answers. But she changed the subject, and I let her. Before Dorothy left, she handed me an envelope. For your education, she said. No arguments. Inside was a check for $500. And a note your grandfather would be so proud. Don't let anyone dim your light. That phrase again. Your grandfather. I tucked the note into my wallet. I carried it with me for years. 2 months after my surgery, something strange happened. I received an email from the university's financial aid office. Congratulations, you have been awarded the Harrison Medical Scholarship. Full tuition plus living expenses. $50,000 per year renewable for 4 years. I read it 3 times. Harrison Medical Scholarship. I had never applied for it. I had never heard of it. I called the financial aid office. Where does this scholarship come from? It's privately funded, the administrator said. Anonymous donor. The only requirement is that you maintain a 3.5 GPA and specialize in surgery. Surgery. That was oddly specific. Can you tell me anything about the donor? I'm sorry the information is confidential, but I can tell you it's been in place for nearly 20 years. You're the first recipient. I hung up confused. A scholarship with my family name, created 20 years ago. First recipient now. Someone was watching me. I mentioned it to my parents during a rare phone call.
That's nice, my mother said. Victoria just got promoted to shift manager at the smoothie place. We're taking her to dinner to celebrate.
She hung up before I could say anything else. That night I called Dorothy. Aunt Dorothy, do you know anything about the Harrison Medical Scholarship? Silence on the line. Then softly, some angels work in silence, Evelyn. What does that mean? It means you're not as alone as you think. It means someone sees you, even when you can't see them. Who? I can't tell you, not yet. But when the time comes, and it will come, you'll understand everything. I didn't understand. But I accepted the scholarship, I continued my studies, I pushed forward. And I tried not to think about the invisible benefactor who shared my last name. 4 years later, I graduated summa cum laude. I was accepted into medical school at the University of Washington. I was on my way to becoming a surgeon. And somewhere out there, someone was watching, waiting, protecting me from the shadows. I had no idea that in just a few more years I would finally meet him. And everything would change. 6 years passed. I was 28 years old, a third-year resident at Seattle Grace Hospital, one of the most competitive trauma surgery programs on the West Coast. I had survived medical school, survived internship, survived 36-hour shifts and patients who died in my arms and attendings who screamed in my face. I was good at my job. Not just good, excellent. My evaluation said things like exceptional surgical instincts and natural leadership ability, and one of the most promising residents we've seen in years. I kept those evaluations in a drawer. I didn't show them to anyone. Who would I show them to? I lived in a studio apartment on Capitol Hill, 480 square feet. A bed that folded into the wall, a kitchen the size of a closet, a window that overlooked a parking garage. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I had earned every inch of it myself. My relationship with my parents had settled into a predictable rhythm. 1 phone call a month, 2 visits a year. Each interaction followed the same script. How's Victoria? Victoria is doing so well. She has a new boyfriend. He's a personal trainer, very handsome. That's nice. I just finished a rotation in cardiothoracic. Oh, that reminds me. Victoria wants to start a fitness influencer account. She's so entrepreneurial. Same conversation, every time. Victoria was 26 now, still living at home, still driving the replacement BMW, still posting selfies to her 247 followers. Her businesses had come and gone like seasons. Leggings, essential oils, crypto trading. A podcast about astrology that lasted 3 episodes. My parents funded every single one. I stopped asking about it. I stopped asking about a lot of things. 3 weeks before my accident, I received an invitation in the mail. Pink envelope, glitter, Victoria's handwriting. You're invited to Victoria's 26th birthday extravaganza, Saturday, March 15th. 6 p.m. sharp. Dress code cocktail attire. Theme Victoria's Vintage Hollywood. I stared at the invitation for a long time. 26th birthday, extravaganza, Vintage Hollywood. My birthdays had stopped being celebrated when I turned 10. I usually spent them alone eating takeout and watching medical documentaries. But Victoria got extravaganzas. I should have thrown the invitation away. I should have said I was working. Instead, I called my supervisor and asked to switch shifts. I wanted to go. Some stupid, hopeful part of me still believed things could be different. Maybe this time they would ask about my life. Maybe this time they would see me. The week before the party, I worked 6 consecutive shifts. 48 hours on, 12 hours off, 48 hours on. A multi-car pileup on Interstate 5, a construction accident downtown, a teenager who shot himself in the head and somehow survived. By Friday night, I was running on fumes, but I had the next day off. Victoria's party was Saturday evening. I could sleep in, buy a gift, show up, and pretend everything was normal. That was the plan. Friday afternoon, I went shopping. I found a designer handbag at Nordstrom. Kate Spade. Dusty rose with gold hardware. Victoria had mentioned wanting one on Instagram 3 weeks earlier. $800. 3 months of savings, but I bought it anyway, because some part of me still wanted her approval, still wanted to belong. I wrapped it carefully, tied a silk ribbon around the box, wrote a card that said, "Happy birthday, Victoria. Love, Evelyn." I set it on my kitchen counter and went to bed early. Saturday morning, I woke up at 6. I couldn't sleep, too anxious, too hopeful, too something. I spent the morning cleaning my apartment, doing laundry, ironing my dress, a navy blue cocktail dress I had bought for a hospital gala 2 years ago. The only nice thing I owned. By noon, I was ready. The party didn't start until 6. I decided to drive to my parents' house early. Help set up, show them I was a good daughter, a good sister. Maybe if I tried harder, they would try too. I grabbed the gift and my keys. I walked outside. The sky was gray, March in Seattle. Rain threatened, but hadn't fallen yet. I got into my car, a 10-year-old Honda Civic, 200,000 miles. It rattled when it went above 60, but it was mine, paid off, reliable. I started the engine. I pulled onto the highway, and that's when everything went wrong. The rain started at 3:47 in the afternoon. Not a drizzle, a downpour. The kind of rain that turns windshield wipers useless. The kind that makes headlights blur into smears of light. I slowed down, gripped the steering wheel, turned on my hazards. I was 10 miles from my parents' house. The highway was nearly empty. Most people had pulled over to wait out the storm. I should have pulled over too. But I kept driving. I didn't want to be late, didn't want to give them another reason to be disappointed. I was in the left lane when I saw it. Headlights, coming straight at me. A delivery truck, running the red light at the intersection. I had 2 seconds. 1 second to see it. 1 second to know what was coming. Then impact. Metal screaming against metal. Glass exploding. My car spinning. 1 rotation. 2. 3. The world turned sideways, then upside down, then dark. I woke up to sirens. Red and blue lights flickered through shattered windows. Rain poured in through the hole where my windshield used to be. I couldn't feel my left leg. I looked down. Bone. White bone poking through red. I tried to scream. No sound came out. A paramedic appeared, young, terrified. Ma'am, can you hear me? We're going to get you out." I nodded, or tried to. "What's your blood type? Do you know your blood type?" I forced the words out. A B negative. His face changed. Something flickered behind his eyes. Okay, we're going to get you to the hospital. Just stay with me." They cut me out of the wreckage. They loaded me onto a stretcher. They slid me into an ambulance. And as the doors closed, I reached for my phone. 1 number. "Mom." She picked up on the 4th ring. The sound of music, laughter, champagne glasses clinking. "Mom," I whispered. "I was in an accident. I need surgery. They need blood donors. A B negative. 5 seconds of silence.
Then her voice. Annoyed, impatient. Evelyn, can this wait? It's Victoria's birthday. We're about to cut the cake.
I heard the words, but they didn't make sense. Victoria's birthday. Cutting the cake. I was bleeding in an ambulance, glass in my chest, bone through my leg. And my mother was worried about cake. Mom! My voice cracked. I'm dying. I need blood. A B negative, please. Silence. Then a sigh. The kind of sigh she used when I asked for something inconvenient.
Evelyn, you're a doctor. You know how these things work. We can't just drop everything. Victoria has been planning this party for months.
Please, I'm scared. Another pause. Then my father's voice. He had taken the phone.
Evelyn, don't be dramatic. The hospital will take care of you. That's what they're for. Don't ruin your sister's special day.
I heard Victoria in the background.
Is that Evie? Tell her I said hi.
Then laughter. Then the line went dead. I stared at my phone. The screen was cracked, blood smeared across the glass. I stared at it until the paramedic gently took it from my hand. It's okay, he said. We'll find donors. Just stay with me. Nothing was okay. I closed my eyes and let the darkness take me. I woke up in a hospital. Seattle Grace Hospital. My hospital. The irony wasn't lost on me. Fluorescent lights, the beep of monitors, the smell of antiseptic and fear. A nurse I recognized stood by my bed. Maria, night shift. She always brought cookies for the residents. Her eyes were red. Dr. Harrison. Her voice trembled. You're awake. Thank God. What happened? You're out of surgery. They repaired your spleen, set your leg, stopped the internal bleeding. She paused. You're going to be okay. I should have felt relief. I felt nothing. Did my parents come? Maria looked away. That was answer enough. A doctor entered the room. Dr. Michael Chen, head of trauma surgery. My boss. My mentor. He was 52, gray at the temples, hands steady as stone after 30 years of surgery. But right now those hands were shaking. He carried a clipboard, my chart, Evelyn. His voice was strange, tight. How are you feeling? Like I got hit by a truck. He didn't smile. He sat down in the chair beside my bed. He stared at the clipboard for a long time. I need to ask you something. Okay, your emergency contact form. He looked at me. The name you listed. Dr. William Harrison. My heart stuttered. What about it? Why did you list him? I tried to remember. The form. Years ago. A blank space where family should have been. I don't know. I didn't have anyone else to put. That name was on my scholarship. I figured if anything happened, at least someone with my last name would be contacted. Dr. Chen's face went pale. Paler than I had ever seen it. You didn't know. Know what? He set down the clipboard. He ran his hands through his hair. Evelyn, Dr. William Harrison is... He's the former chief of surgery at this hospital. He trained me. He trained half the surgeons in this state. I blinked. Okay. He's also your grandfather. The room tilted. That's impossible. My grandfather is dead. He died before I was born. Dr. Chen shook his head slowly. He's not dead, Evelyn. He's very much alive. And he's on his way here right now. I couldn't breathe. I don't understand. Neither do I. Dr. Chen stood up. But 25 years ago, he told everyone his granddaughter had died. He grieved for you. He set up scholarships in your name. He talked about you like a ghost. But I'm not. I know. His voice cracked. Someone lied. Someone told him you were dead. And someone told you he was dead. The door opened. A man walked in. 78 years old, tall, white hair, a surgeon's hands. He wore a wrinkled coat, like he had dressed in a hurry, like he had run from somewhere far away. He stopped at the foot of my bed. His eyes found mine, and he started to cry.
Evelyn.
His voice broke on my name.
My Evelyn.
I stared at him, this stranger, this ghost. Who are you? He moved closer, slowly, like I might disappear if he moved too fast.
I'm your grandfather. Tears streamed down his face. Your real grandfather, William Harrison.
My grandfather is dead.
That's what they told you. He sank into the chair beside my bed. That's what they told me about you. 25 years ago, Robert said you died. He said you died with your parents in that accident.
My parents?
Daniel and Sarah. His voice shattered. Your real parents. My son. My beautiful boy.
The room spun. Daniel and Sarah. Not Robert and Sandra. I don't understand. He took my hand. His grip was warm, gentle, like he was afraid I would break.
Robert is not your father, Evelyn. He's your uncle. Daniel was your father, my firstborn son. He died in a plane crash 25 years ago. You were 3 years old. You stayed home because you had a fever.
I tried to process the words. Uncle, father, plane crash, 3 years old.
Robert took you in after the funeral. He and Sandra. They were supposed to raise you like their own. His jaw tightened, but they didn't. They took you and they cut me out. They told me you blamed me for your parents' death. They told me you never wanted to see me.
I didn't even know you existed.
I know, he sobbed. 3 years later, they told me you died. Some childhood illness. They sent me a death certificate. I believed them. I had no reason not to.
They faked my death.
They erased you. His eyes burned. To me, to the family. They took my granddaughter and made her disappear.
I couldn't speak. 25 years. 25 years of being invisible, of being the other one, of being told I wasn't special, wasn't enough, wasn't wanted. And the whole time, there was someone looking for me, someone who thought I was dead. Why? I whispered. Why would they do that? His grip tightened on my hand.
Because Daniel was my heir. Everything I had was meant for him. And when he died, it was meant for you. Robert knew that. He knew that as long as you were in my life, he would never get anything.
Money. All of it for money. They stole me, I said. They stole my life.
Yes, his voice was steel, and they will pay for it. I promise you, Evelyn, they will pay.
He reached into his coat, pulled out a small vial.
But first, I need you to survive. He rolled up his sleeve. I'm AB negative, the same as you, the same as Daniel.
He looked at the nurse.
Take my blood, all of it if you have to. Just save my granddaughter.
3 days later, I opened my eyes. Sunlight streamed through the window. Real sunlight. Not the fluorescent buzz of the ICU. I had been moved to a private room, the nicest room in the hospital. Fresh flowers covered every surface. Roses, lilies, sunflowers. The air smelled like a garden. And sitting in the chair beside my bed, exactly where I had last seen him, was my grandfather. He hadn't left. 3 days, 72 hours. He had stayed by my side through every moment.
You're awake.
His voice was hoarse, exhausted, but his eyes lit up like Christmas morning.
You're still here. Of course I'm still here.
He leaned forward.
I waited 25 years to find you. You think I'm going anywhere now?
I tried to sit up. Pain shot through my chest. He jumped forward, adjusting my pillows, pressing the button to raise the bed.
Easy. You had major surgery. Your spleen was ruptured. 3 broken ribs. Compound fracture in your left tibia. You're lucky to be alive.
I don't feel lucky.
You will.
He sat back down.
I promise you, Evelyn. From now on, everything changes.
Over the next few days, he told me everything. The real story of my family. My father, Daniel Harrison, was the firstborn son, brilliant, kind, a gifted surgeon who graduated top of his class from Johns Hopkins.
He had my hands, grandfather said, but his mother's heart. He could have run any hospital in the country, but he chose to work in community clinics, free surgeries for people who couldn't afford them. He said healing shouldn't have a price tag.
My mother, Sarah, was a nurse. They met in the emergency room. She was treating a gunshot victim. He was the surgeon on call. They fell in love over 12-hour shifts and cold coffee.
She was fierce, grandfather smiled. Tiny woman, 5 feet 2 inches, but she would fight anyone who mistreated a patient. Daniel used to say she was the bravest person he ever met.
They married in a small ceremony, just family, just love. I was born a year later.
The day you were born was the happiest day of Daniel's life.
Grandfather's voice cracked.
He called me from the hospital, crying. He said, Dad, I finally understand. I finally understand what it means to love someone more than yourself.
I had photographs now. Grandfather had brought boxes of them, albums I had never seen. My father holding me as a newborn, my mother singing to me in a rocking chair. The three of us at Christmas, at the beach, at my third birthday party. I stared at my mother's face. My face? We had the same eyes, the same smile, the same stubborn chin. 25 years. I had spent 25 years not knowing what my own mother looked like. What happened to them? Grandfather's face darkened.
A medical conference in Denver. They flew out on a Friday. The plane went down over the mountains. No survivors.
And me.
You had a fever, a bad cold. Sarah insisted you stay home with Robert and Sandra. They were the only family nearby. Daniel asked them to watch you for the weekend.
He paused.
That weekend became 25 years.
Robert Harrison was the younger brother, the overlooked brother, the one who lived in Daniel's shadow.
Robert always resented Daniel. Grandfather said Daniel was the golden child, the surgeon, the heir. Robert worked at a hardware store. He struggled with money. He struggled with everything.
When Daniel died, Robert saw an opportunity.
The will was clear. Everything I had, the properties, the investments, the savings, it all went to Daniel. And if Daniel died before me, it went to you.
So I was worth something to them.
You were worth $47 million.
The number hung in the air.
Robert knew that as long as you were in my life, he would get nothing. So he cut me out. He told me you blamed me for your parents' death, that you never wanted to see me. I was grieving, broken. I believed him.
And then he told you I died.
3 years later, he sent a death certificate, said you had some rare illness. I didn't question it. I couldn't. The thought of losing you, too.
He wiped his eyes.
I stopped living after that.
But he never stopped watching.
I hired investigators over the years. Something never felt right, but every trail went cold. Robert had covered his tracks too well.
Then 5 years ago, Great Aunt Dorothy made a discovery.
She was cleaning out old files and found some discrepancies, medical records that didn't match. She started digging. She found you.
Why didn't she tell me?
She wanted to, but my lawyers advised caution. Robert had legal guardianship. If we approached you before you turned 25, he could have interfered, claimed we were manipulating you, made things worse.
So they waited. The scholarship, that was you.
Grandfather nodded. The Harrison Medical Scholarship. I created it the year Dorothy found you. I couldn't be in your life, but I could make sure you had every opportunity to succeed.
The anonymous donor.
I watched from afar. Dorothy sent me updates, your grades, your accomplishments, your struggles.
His voice broke.
Every time Robert and Sandra mistreated you, I knew, and it killed me to do nothing.
Why didn't you come sooner?
The day you turned 25, I was going to reveal everything. But you had just started your residency. You were so focused, so driven. I didn't want to disrupt your life.
He looked at his hands.
I was waiting for the right moment. And then Dr. Chen called me. He said a patient had been brought in, a woman named Harrison, with my name as her emergency contact.
He looked up at me.
He said you were dying, that you needed blood, that your family had refused to come.
His jaw tightened.
I was in San Francisco when I got the call. I chartered a plane. I was here in 2 hours.
2 hours. My grandfather flew from San Francisco in 2 hours to save my life. My parents couldn't drive 20 minutes because of birthday cake. The blood, I said, you donated.
AB negative, the rarest type, the same as Daniel, the same as you.
He smiled softly.
Genetics don't lie, Evelyn. Robert and Sandra couldn't donate because they're not your blood. They never were.
He reached into his coat and pulled out a folder.
There's more.
He handed it to me. Inside were documents, medical records, financial statements, and one piece of paper that made my heart stop. A death certificate. My death certificate, signed by Robert Harrison, dated 3 years after my parents died.
He faked your death to steal your inheritance, Grandfather said. And I have every piece of evidence to prove it.
I stared at the death certificate. My name, my birth date, my cause of death. Pneumonia complicated by congenital heart defect. I didn't have a heart defect. I had never had pneumonia. But according to this document, I had died at 6 years old, in my sleep, peacefully. Where did you get this?
Robert filed it with the county 22 years ago.
Grandfather's voice was ice.
He forged a doctor's signature, bribed someone at the records office, made you disappear on paper.
Why?
Because dead children don't inherit anything.
He pulled out another document from the folder.
Daniel's will, written 6 months before the accident. He left everything to Sarah, and if Sarah predeceased him, everything went to you. His entire estate.
How much?
At the time, $200,000 in savings, life insurance, a small investment portfolio.
$200,000.
Robert was named as executor of the estate until you turned 18. He was supposed to manage the money for your benefit.
Let me guess. He didn't.
The money was gone within 3 years.
Grandfather's jaw tightened.
The BMW, the house renovations, Victoria's college fund, all of it came from your inheritance. Your father's money, Daniel's legacy.
I felt sick. 25 years of hand-me-downs and windowless rooms. 25 years of being told I was a burden. And the whole time they were living off money that belonged to me.
There's more.
Grandfather reached into the folder again. This time he pulled out a thick document. Legal paper, notarized seals.
My will.
He placed it in my hands.
I wrote this 20 years ago after I thought you had died. I left everything to charity, medical foundations, scholarship funds, anything to keep Daniel's memory alive.
I looked at the pages, columns of numbers, lists of properties and investments.
But I added a clause, a single paragraph that Robert never knew about.
He pointed to a section highlighted in yellow. I read it aloud. In the event that my granddaughter, Evelyn Marie Harrison, is discovered to be alive at any point before or after my death, all previous bequests are hereby revoked. The entirety of my estate shall pass to her immediately and without condition. I looked up at him. You never gave up.
I couldn't.
His eyes glistened.
Some part of me knew. Some part of me always hoped that Robert had lied, that you were out there somewhere.
How much is the estate? He took a breath.
Real estate holdings across Seattle, 3 medical office buildings. Total value $18 million.
$18 million.
Stock portfolio and investments. Accumulated over 40 years of careful management. $22 million.
$22 million.
Cash reserves, retirement funds, and miscellaneous assets. $7 million.
$7 million.
Total estate value as of last month, $47 million.
I couldn't breathe. $47 million.
And as of 3 days ago, when you were confirmed alive and your identity verified, Grandfather said every single penny of it belongs to you.
The room tilted. What about Robert Victoria?
They get nothing. His voice was steel. Not a single cent. Robert Harrison is not my son in any way that matters. He betrayed his brother's memory. He stole from a child. He lied to me for 25 years.
He leaned forward.
The will specifically excludes him by name. And Victoria, as his biological daughter, has no claim to the Harrison estate. She's not a blood relative of mine.
I thought about Victoria's BMW, her master bedroom, her $85,000 college fund. All of it built on lies. All of it about to collapse.
There's one more thing.
Grandfather pulled out his phone. He showed me a text message exchange. Robert's number. The messages started 2 days ago.
Robert, Dad, I heard you were at the hospital. We need to talk. It's about Evelyn.
Grandfather, no response.
Robert, whatever she told you, it's not true. She's always been dramatic. You know how she is.
Grandfather, no response.
Robert, Dad, please. I can explain everything. There's been a misunderstanding.
Grandfather, no response.
Robert, call me back. This is important. We're family.
The final message was from this morning.
Robert, I know about the will. You can't do this. I'll fight it. I'll take you to court. You're senile. You don't know what you're doing.
Grandfather smiled coldly.
He's scared.
He should be. That afternoon, Robert and Sandra showed up at the hospital. I heard them before I saw them.
Robert's voice echoing down the hallway. Where is she? I demand to see my daughter.
Sandra's heels clicking on the linoleum. This is ridiculous. We have rights.
2 security guards blocked the door to my room. Grandfather had arranged for 24-hour protection. Sir, ma'am, you're not on the approved visitor list.
Visitor list.
Robert's voice cracked with rage.
She's my daughter. You can't keep me from her?
Dr. Chen appeared. I could see him through the window in my door. She's not your daughter, Mr. Harrison. His voice was calm, surgical. She never was.
That's a lie.
We tested her blood, a B negative, one of the rarest types in the world. Your blood type is O positive. Sandra's is A positive. Dr. Chen paused. Do you need me to explain genetics to you? Silence. It's impossible for either of you to be Evelyn's biological parents. The science doesn't lie. More silence. Then Sandra, small, desperate.
We raised her. We fed her.
You put her in a storage room. Dr. Chen's voice turned to ice. You made her work for pocket change while your biological daughter got everything. You refused to donate blood when she was dying. You chose birthday cake over her life.
That's not, we didn't know.
You knew exactly what you were doing for 25 years. Dr. Chen stepped closer. Now leave, before I call the police and have you removed. I watched through the window as security escorted them out. Robert's face was purple with rage. Sandra was crying. And just before they disappeared around the corner, I saw Victoria, standing in the hallway, phone in hand, frozen. She looked at my door. Our eyes met. For 1 second, I saw something in her face. Fear, confusion, maybe even regret. Then she turned and followed her parents out. Grandfather squeezed my hand.
It's over, Evelyn. They can't hurt you anymore.
I watched the empty hallway. 25 years of silence. 25 years of invisibility. 25 years of being the other one. And now the whole world was about to know the truth. When do we tell them about the inheritance? Grandfather smiled.
Next week. At the lawyer's office. Officially and legally.
His eyes gleamed.
I want to see Robert's face when he realizes that everything he stole, everything he schemed for, everything he lied about, was all for nothing.
1 week later, I walked into the law offices of Morrison & Associates. Downtown Seattle, 47th floor, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Elliott Bay. I wore a simple black dress, no jewelry, no makeup. I didn't need armor. The truth was my armor. Grandfather walked beside me. His hand rested on my arm, steady, protective. Great-Aunt Dorothy was there too, 75 years old, silver hair pinned back, eyes sharp as surgical steel. She had flown in from Portland the moment she heard I was alive. 25 years, she had whispered when she first saw me. 25 years I kept your secret, watched you from afar, prayed for this day. Now we walked together into the conference room. James Morrison stood at the head of the table, 70 years old. Grandfather's attorney for 40 years. His face was grave. They're already here, he said quietly. I looked through the glass walls. Robert sat at the far end of the conference table. His face was red, sweating. His hands gripped the armrests like he was drowning. Sandra sat beside him, pale, trembling. She hadn't looked up since we arrived. And Victoria sat slightly apart from her parents, arms crossed, jaw tight. Her eyes darted between the door and her phone. I took a breath, and I walked in. The room fell silent. Robert's head snapped up. His eyes found mine. I saw fear there, desperation, and underneath it all, rage.
Evelyn. His voice was too loud, too forced. Thank God you're okay. We were so worried.
I didn't respond. I sat down across from him. Grandfather on my left, Dorothy on my right, Morrison at the head. Let's begin, Morrison said. He opened a folder. We're here today to formally address the matter of Dr. William Harrison's estate and the verified status of his sole surviving heir, Evelyn Marie Harrison.
This is ridiculous, Robert interrupted. She's not his heir. She's my daughter.
She is not your daughter. Morrison's voice was ice. She is the biological daughter of Daniel Harrison and Sarah Mitchell Harrison, both deceased. DNA testing confirmed this 3 days ago. He slid a document across the table. Evelyn is Dr. William Harrison's only legitimate grandchild. And according to the terms of his will, she is the sole beneficiary of his entire estate. Robert's face went white.
How much?
$47 million. The number dropped like a bomb. Victoria's phone clattered to the table. Sandra made a small choking sound. Robert sat frozen. His mouth opened and closed like a fish.
That's impossible. His voice was strangled. I'm his son. I should...
You forfeited any claim to this estate 25 years ago.
Grandfather spoke for the first time. His voice was quiet, controlled, deadly.
When you stole my granddaughter, when you lied to me about her death, when you took her inheritance and spent it on yourself.
I didn't...
Don't.
Grandfather's hand slammed the table.
Don't you dare lie to me again.
He pulled out a document, the forged death certificate.
You filed this with the county when Evelyn was 6 years old. You told me she was dead. You let me grieve for 22 years.
Robert's face crumbled.
Dad, I can explain.
There is no explanation.
Grandfather's voice cracked.
Daniel was my son, my firstborn. The best thing I ever created. And when he died, I had one piece of him left.
He pointed at me.
Her, Evelyn, my granddaughter, and you took her from me.
Silence. Sandra started crying, soft whimpering sounds. Victoria stared at her parents like she was seeing them for the first time. You told me grandfather was dead, I said quietly. All eyes turned to me. Every time I asked about him, you said he died before I was born. You said I had no other family. Just you. I looked at Robert. But I wasn't your family, was I? I was never your daughter. I was just a paycheck.
That's not true. Robert's voice was desperate. We loved you. We raised you.
You raised me in a storage room. My voice didn't waver. You gave me $25 a week while Victoria got $300. You refused to pay for my education while you gave her $85,000. You made me serve drinks at her parties. You told me I wasn't special. I leaned forward, and when I was bleeding out in an ambulance begging for help, you told me to figure it out myself because Victoria was cutting birthday cake. Robert opened his mouth. Nothing came out. That's not love. That's not family. That's 25 years of theft and abuse. I turned to Victoria. She flinched. Victoria.
I didn't know. Her voice was small, scared. I swear, Evelyn, I didn't know about any of this.
You knew I slept in a closet while you had a master bedroom.
I thought Mom said you liked it.
You knew I worked 2 jobs while you got a BMW.
Dad said you wanted to be independent.
You laughed. My voice broke. When I was dying in an ambulance, I heard you laughing in the background. Victoria's face crumpled.
I didn't know it was serious. They said you were being dramatic. They always said...
They lied. I cut her off. About everything. To everyone, including you. Victoria looked at her parents. Robert wouldn't meet her eyes. Sandra was sobbing into her hands.
Is it true? Victoria's voice trembled. Is Evelyn really not my sister?
Silence.
Answer me.
Robert finally spoke. She's your cousin, Daniel's daughter. We took her in after the accident.
And the money? The inheritance?
More silence.
You spent my cousin's inheritance.
Victoria stood up. Her chair crashed backward.
On me. On my car. My college fund. My bedroom.
Victoria, sit down.
No.
She was screaming now.
My whole life is built on stolen money. Everything I have belongs to her.
She pointed at me. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no triumph, just exhaustion. I want to make something clear, I said quietly. Everyone stopped. I'm not here for revenge. I'm not here to destroy anyone's life. I'm here to reclaim what was stolen from me. My identity, my history, my family. I looked at Robert and Sandra. I don't want your apologies. I don't want your explanations. I don't want reconciliation. I stood up. What I want is simple. Stay out of my life. Don't call me. Don't visit me. Don't pretend we're family. I picked up my bag. Because we're not. We never were.
Sandra reached across the table. Evelyn, please.
Mrs. Harrison. My voice was steel. That's Dr. Harrison to you. And this conversation is over. I turned to Morrison. File the restraining orders. All 3 of them. Already prepared. I walked toward the door.
Robert's voice followed me. Broken, pathetic. Evelyn. Evelyn, please. We're family. Blood is thicker than...
I stopped. I turned around one last time. Blood. I smiled coldly. You couldn't even donate yours to save my life. Don't talk to me about blood. I walked out. Grandfather and Dorothy followed. Behind us, I heard Victoria screaming at her parents, Sandra wailing, Robert pleading with Morrison to reconsider. I didn't look back. 25 years of silence. 25 years of invisibility. And now I was finally completely, irrevocably free. 6 months passed. The world kept spinning. The seasons changed. and somewhere along the way, I learned how to breathe again. I finished my residency at Seattle Grace Hospital. Top of my class. The evaluation said exceptional surgical talent and natural-born leader. This time I didn't hide it in a drawer. I framed it and hung it on my wall. Johns Hopkins offered me a fellowship in trauma surgery, one of the most competitive programs in the country. They wanted me to start in the fall. The director called personally. "Dr. Harrison," he said, "we've been watching your career for years. You're exactly what we're looking for." Years. Someone had been watching me for years. I didn't have to ask who had recommended me. I moved into a new apartment, a penthouse in Capitol Hill with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the Seattle skyline. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, more space than I knew what to do with. Grandfather had insisted.
"You've spent 25 years in closets and storage rooms," he said. "It's time you had a home that fits who you really are."
I kept my old studio apartment too, but I didn't live there. I rented it out to a medical student, a young woman named Maria from Guatemala, first in her family to go to college, working 3 jobs to pay tuition. I charged her $1 a month. "Pay it forward someday," I told her. "That's the only rent I need." Grandfather moved to Seattle to be closer to me. He bought a townhouse 3 blocks from my building, close enough to visit, far enough to give me space. We had dinner together every Sunday. He cooked, I washed dishes. We talked for hours about everything and nothing, medicine, philosophy, the Mariners, the weather. He told me stories about my father, how Daniel used to sneak candy into the operating room, how he proposed to my mother with a ring made from surgical wire, how he cried the first time he held me in his arms.
"You have his hands," Grandfather said one evening. He held my palm up to the light, long fingers, steady grip, surgeon's hands.
I wish I remembered him.
"You don't have to remember him," he smiled. "You carry him with you, every patient you save, every life you touch. That's Daniel's legacy living on."
Great Aunt Dorothy moved to Seattle too. She claimed it was for the coffee, but I knew the truth. After 25 years of watching from afar, she wanted to be present. She taught me how to make my grandmother's recipes: pot roast, apple pie, chocolate chip cookies that melted on your tongue.
"Catherine would have adored you," she said. "She always wanted a granddaughter to spoil."
She has one now. Dorothy's eyes filled with tears.
Yes, she does.
The money changed nothing about who I was, but it changed everything about what I could do. I established the Daniel and Sarah Harrison Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to providing medical care for underserved communities. The first project, 3 free clinics in rural Washington, the same kind of clinics my father had dreamed of building. Total investment, $4 million. The second project, a scholarship fund for first-generation medical students. Full tuition, living expenses, no strings attached. I called it the Catherine Harrison Scholarship. 20 recipients in the first year. Grandfather cried when he saw the announcement.
"They would be so proud," he whispered. "Daniel, Sarah, Catherine, all of them."
I hope so.
"I know so."
I didn't live extravagantly. I drove a Honda, bought clothes at Target, ate lunch in the hospital cafeteria. The money wasn't for me. It was for the future, for the patients I hadn't met yet, for the students who reminded me of myself. 25 years of being told I was worthless. Now I knew my worth, and I was using it to lift others up. The news about Robert spread quickly. He lost his job at the construction supply store. Word got out about the forged documents, the stolen inheritance, the faked death certificate. No one wanted to employ a man like that. Sandra filed for divorce 3 months after the lawyer meeting. She moved back to Ohio to live with her mother. I heard she was working as a cashier at a grocery store. I felt nothing. Victoria's life collapsed too. The BMW was repossessed. The credit cards were maxed out. The influencer dreams evaporated when her followers learned the truth. Someone leaked the story to a local news station. Local family steals millions from orphaned niece. It went viral. Victoria deleted all her social media. 2 weeks before I left for Johns Hopkins, an email arrived from Victoria. I almost deleted it, but something made me stop. I opened it.
Evelyn, I know you probably won't read this. I know you have every reason to hate me, but I need to say this anyway. I didn't know. I know that sounds like an excuse. Maybe it is, but I swear to you, I didn't know about any of it. The inheritance, the forged death certificate, the lies about grandfather. My whole life, they told me you were difficult, jealous, dramatic. They said you resented me for being born. They said you wanted attention and made up problems to get it. I believed them. I was stupid, spoiled, blind. I saw what they wanted me to see, but I'm not writing to ask for your forgiveness. I don't deserve that. I'm writing because I wanted you to know that I'm sorry. For every cruel thing I said, every time I laughed when you were hurting, every moment I took what should have been yours. I can't undo 25 years, but I can try to be better. I got a job, a real job, receptionist at a dental office. It's not glamorous, but it's honest. I'm seeing a therapist, trying to understand how I became someone who could watch her cousin suffer and not even notice. I don't expect you to respond. I don't expect anything from you at all. But if you ever decide you want to talk even just once, I'll be here. I hope you have an amazing life, Evelyn. You deserve it.
I read the email 3 times. I didn't respond, but I didn't delete it either. Some doors are better left closed, but maybe someday a window could open. My last day in Seattle, I stood in the surgical wing of Seattle Grace Hospital, the same wing where I had been wheeled in 6 months ago, bleeding and broken, the same wing where my grandfather had saved my life. A new patient was being prepped for surgery, a little girl, 8 years old, car accident, internal bleeding. Her parents stood outside the operating room, holding each other terrified. I watched them through the glass. They held hands, they prayed, they loved each other. That's what family should look like, I thought. Not blood, not obligation, not genetics, just love. I picked up my bag and walked toward the exit, toward Johns Hopkins, toward my future, toward a life I had built with my own 2 hands. Behind me, the hospital hummed with life. Ahead of me, the world was waiting. Family is built, not born, choice, not blood. I spent 25 years waiting for people to see my worth. Now I know the truth. Your worth isn't determined by who sees it. It's determined by who you become. If no one shows up, or you show up for yourself, you are enough. You always were. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had to set a boundary with family? How did it change your life? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more stories like this, check out the video in the description. Until next time, take care of yourself. You deserve it.